Hi everyone, I am Aisha Nicholson, and this is Coffee with CoreLife, where we discuss all things health and wellness related. Before we get into today's topic, let's welcome our guest, Patrick Dunn, registered dietitian and vice president of dietetics.
Hello.
So today's topic is fresh versus frozen fruit and vegetables, and this is something that I see a lot of discourse about because of which one is healthier and which one is better.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, which has more nutrients, fresh or frozen fruits or vegetables?
Oh, that's a great question. Believe it or not, they both are actually pretty comparable to one another.
Mhm.
Um, Research that I've seen really suggests that fresh is generally better up front. However, after about 5 days of refrigeration is typically when the nutrition or the nutrients rather will start to decay a little bit. So really, if you're gonna buy fresh, it's best to use it within 5 days. Otherwise, believe it or not, frozen is actually really kind of the way to go because typically when those vegetables are chopped and cut, they're flash frozen immediately, which really locks in those nutrients. So
Mm-hmm.
they are still fully there, whereas the fresh will decay over time.
Yeah. And then my next question was actually about the freezing process as well.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um, do they lose vitamins or antioxidants or nutrients when it comes to the freezing process?
Ah, okay, yeah, great question. No, actually, yeah, they don't. If
Mm-hmm.
anything, it locks them in right then and there. And
Mm-hmm.
so typically they can actually be sometimes, I recommend it a lot to my own patients because sometimes they're cheaper to buy frozen versus fresh. I mean, typically
Right.
that's where they get you a lot was with the fresh stuff. But depending on how long those fresh fruits and vegetables have been
Mm-hmm.
sitting there in the supermarket, they can actually be less nutritious than the ones that are actually frozen. And typically you can get those sometimes, 10 for 10 or $1 a bag or something. So I buy them a lot. There's really nothing wrong with them. If anything, denatures the nutrients, it's usually the cooking process that'll do that, not the
Okay.
freezing process. Yeah, great
Okay.
question.
And then my last question is, when is it appropriate to use frozen fruits and vegetables versus fresh?
Ah, good question as well. So typically, frozen can be used for just about any reason. Again, fresh, you want to use that as quickly as possible. So typically, fresh will be good within about 5 days, although I have to say, in my household, I let things go up to 7 days because I don't like to waste food, but my partner hates that. He's more strict about 5 days. Let's throw it out.
Yeah.
So if it's within 5 days, you can definitely use it for sure. I mean, yes, after 5 days, you run the risk of bacterial contamination, things like that, just spoilage in general. But yeah, frozen's good to use all the time.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. And frozen doesn't really have a shelf life, does it?
No, not per se.
Okay.
I mean, everything's a little different, of course, but if it gets freezer burn or something because it's been in there too long, then I would probably, maybe chuck it. But yeah, you're better off typically with frozen stuff because it lasts a little bit longer.
Okay, so I would say Frozen has won this, the
Yeah,
verses.
yeah, believe it or not, it might not be what you'd expect, but yeah, yeah, it does.
That was all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for coming on another segment of
Yes.
Coffee with Core
Oh,
Life.
my pleasure.
We
Thanks for
love
having
having
me.
you.
Yes, I love to be here and I look forward to the next one. Thank you.